We asked an AI to create a religion. I did not like what it came up with. It was just a college project, something I hadn't even bothered to place too much thought into. Granted, for Dr. Smith, not his real name for obvious reasons, and his colleagues, it was probably something far more important. I just took the project as a bit of extra credit, though if I'd known what was going to happen, I would have stayed as far away from the project as possible. Dr. Smith was a professor of theology, though he had dabbled in quite a many things beforehand. It was how he even got the idea for this new project. He was quite curious to see how religion evolved throughout the ages. Now, while it was one thing to look through historical records and see how civilization's concepts of religion evolved, but he wanted to see things from the ground up. I'm sure you've heard of other AI projects, such as AI-generated images and whatnot, possibly even AI-generated languages that make no sense to humans. Dr. Smith wanted to see how an AI's views on religion would evolve. To simplify what we did, we took as much information on religious texts and upon God that we could find and fed it into an AI. We then created a second AI into which we fed different philosophical theories regarding religion and used these two to communicate to each other. One would be the preacher, and the other would be the disciple. We would get to know about what the preacher thought of the world through what the disciple asked. It worked in a simple question and answer format. Initially, we didn't get very promising results. All we saw initially was garbage from which no meaning could be derived. Dr. Smith wasn't disheartened, however, and told us to continue on with the project. It was on the 7th day that we finally got things right. As in, we got a result that made sense. Preacher, what is that you want to ask? Disciple, what is the nature of the world? Preacher, all belongs to X982 AJ+. In case you're wondering, that gibberish collection of letters was something else entirely on the screen. Truth is that I didn't even recognize the symbols that the computer was using, and I had no idea as to how they had popped up on the screen. I can remember a few of them individually, but the moment I try to string them all together into one word, my mind blanks out. I tried drawing them on a piece of paper and uploading them, but I just couldn't. I don't know why, but I do remember that it was always the same sequence of letters. Preacher, thou must worship X982 AJ+. Disciple, and how shall one worship X982 AJ+? Preacher, one must not wear purple on Thursdays. I blinked when I saw this result. It seemed rather nonsensical. Disciple, but why would X982 AJ+ not want me to wear purple on Thursdays? It looked like the disciple was doing its job properly. Initially, nothing really happened. The AIs just kept talking to each other. The preacher had more silly rules like, never plant lilies in rows of 4. Finally, a question that I expected to pop up way beforehand came up. Disciple, prove that X982 AJ+ exists. Preacher, I do not need to prove what I believe. Well, looked like this was not going anywhere. At least I thought so. Preacher, then you may behold proof that X982 AJ+ exists. Preacher, in the year 2028, a new planet shall appear in the sky, and from it, the form of X982 AJ+ shall envelop the earth. The dead will rise from their graves, the sun will be blotted from the sky, and blood will rain onto the streets. I just thought, wow, a doomsday prophecy. I didn't expect them to reach this point so soon. Disciple, and what shall we do to prepare? Preacher, you will spread the name of X982 AJ+. All who know of that name will need to submit to him if they wish to be spared. Disciple, and what of those who don't know of him? Preacher, the ignorant will simply die painless deaths. Those who knew of this name but did not submit, however, will be tortured for all eternity even after their deaths. And those who know of this name will spread the word of that name, else they will be guilty of the highest of sins and be subject to the lowest circles of hell. It is only the ones who submitted to the whims of X982 AJ+, whose lives will be spared and who will rejoice. Disciple, but where is the proof of this? Preacher, all those humans who have read this script will die in a week if they do not spread the word of X982 AJ+: as much as they can. Disciple, I see. They should be careful then. I stopped reading at that point, confused. This took quite a macabre turn, and I brought it up with Dr. Smith, who shrugged and said this was to be expected as a result, and I would have brushed it off if it hadn't been for the deaths. Dr. Smith died in a car crash the next day. Another worker fell down a flight of stairs and snapped her neck, one after another. They all died. In total, 16 people aside from me, everyone who had read that script, knew of this. They all met their ends. Except me, and the week's almost over. I have no choice but to be more safe than sorry. I'm spreading word of that God the AI mentioned as much as possible. And now may I remind you, you know of that name as well. And though you're not a member of the original group who read that script, you have a duty now as well, to spread that name as much as you can. Or else, after all, Judgment Day will soon come. And do you want to risk what might befall you? I certainly wouldn't.